All right, hey everyone, how's it going? Nice to see you all again. All right, so yeah, great. My first time doing like 2 live streams in one day, so uh, oh boy, I've got multiple tabs open. Where's it coming from? Okay, that one. Stop that one. Okay, I think I just got one. Okay, that's some nice music. Oh, I can't. Oh, okay, there you go. Just putting everything. All right. So yeah, I'm curious to see what this one is going to be like. They had a post on the forums. Yeah, there you go. A thread on the forums where they were basically requesting questions. So yeah, I briefly saw a handful of these, and they seemed there's a bunch of definitely interesting questions. So yeah, I'm curious to see those. Like amidst feature turbulence, layoffs, and so on. What happened to Corsilar? What happened to that one? What happened to terrain and world building? Which is one thing that was absent from the roadmap that was shown just a while ago. So yeah, lots of interesting plans regarding the Unity Asset Store. Capture revenue from large firms and enterprise customers. Okay. Unity's pitch today to developers using their technology and not competitors. So basically, why use Unity instead of Unreal? That's an interesting question. I'd be curious to hear what is his main answer to that. Huh. Because yeah, I mean, my answer as someone who is, I was going to say unbiased, but technically I'm biased because I use Unity, but I'm unbiased in the sense that I don't work for Unity. So, so I'm not technically connected. So that is why my answer when it comes to what engine to pick, my answer is always use whatever you like. Nowadays, we live in an age where pretty much every single engine is awesome. So if you want to use Unity, Unreal, and Godot, any of those are really awesome. So none of those are bad options. So I would be curious to hear what is his answer to that. But yeah, I'm guessing he's only going to answer a handful of these questions, so probably not some of these. Vision roll for dots for the future of the engine. That would be a great question. I would be very curious to hear what exactly does he personally think about dots. Does he think that is going to be a big thing in the future? I would be curious to know that. Cindy caught in the financial death spiral. Oh wow, that seems intense. I believe on the last quarter they were actually profitable. I'm actually not 100% sure, so yeah. Mobile games run into network bandwidth issues. Determinism in netcode has a long and successful history. However, playing it to mobile games is challenging.
Good day, everybody. My name is Larry Herb, the Director of Community here at Unity.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. We've got a great stream here for you today. Today, we're talking to Matt Bromberg, the CEO of Unity. Matt, thanks for joining us. I got to tell you, it's so great to be back here at GDC here in San Francisco. We're here at the Unity offices. Matt, tell us about some of the Unity announcements this week. Some folks have seen them online, but just give us a little bit of high level before we get into it.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of the successful release of Unity 6, our big things for this GDC have been stability, performance, and platform expansion. On the performance side, 6.1, which will be our first release, is really focused on higher frame rates, smoother gameplay, better performance across devices. On the stability side, we are really doubling down on something we call production verification. So we're increasing the amount of code development we do with partners to make sure that when we do releases and updates of Unity 6, they're production verified in real production environments, which we think will lead to much more stability.
Right.
And then finally, it's really about platform expansion. Unity has always been about ubiquity, about building games on any platform. We've doubled down with the release with the release of support around web GPU, much more in XR, MetaQuest, and instant games. So those are our things: stability, performance, ubiquity.
I mean,
So yeah, very interesting. Yeah, basically the same things they mentioned in the roadmap, which yeah, performance, stability, and being on pretty much every platform known to man. And yeah, it's interesting that I mentioned the thing about the production. I already forgot about the name, but yeah, the new brand they're giving to basically them working efficiently with other studios. And he said they're increasing that, so that's good. That's good news. I mean, from there, it sounded like it was just they're continuing to do what they've always done. But from what he said right now, it seems they're actually increasing investment in that, increasing in working more with studios, which I think is definitely one of the best ways to get actual feedback from people actually using the engine to then apply to improvements to the engine. So yeah, the fact they're improving on that, I think that's a positive.
It's really been an interesting point. When you look back, people may not know this, but you haven't even been here 12 months. You've been here 9 months. And so tell us about what that 9 months and how things are going.
I think they're going great. It's been a privilege for me to be here, and really a privilege for me to connect with our community and our customers, which is really what I've spent much of the first 9 months doing. I was a customer of Unity for many years, and so I really kind of fundamentally and uniquely understand what's great about Unity. But I also think I bring a little bit of a customer's sense of like, hey, I also think we can be better. And one of the things I felt coming in was that we had lost this connection with our community. We weren't partnering with people as much as we should. And so the first 9 months has just been a lot about getting back to that place where we really understand what the pain points are, what people want and need from us, and doing the best we can to deliver that.
Yeah, you said it real well.
Yeah, I have to say one thing that he has been very consistent on is using the word community. He has mentioned that over and over again. And yeah, I mean, the thing about them investing more into co-developing games, I think kind of makes that evident. So it's not just talk, he's actually putting effort in that, which I think generally, I think focusing on the community, which are really Unity users, I think that is a recipe for success for the engine as a whole, for all developers and so on. So I do hope that that focus is not just a short-term thing. That was my hope when he was first announced CEO like 9 months ago. That was my hope, that it's not just a short-term thing. And at least so far, 9 months, it still seems to be the focus. So yeah, hopefully, let's see. Yeah, the licensing, all that mess, thankfully now that whole thing is behind. So yeah, curious for the future.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm here. I've only been here 8 months. I started a little bit after you did. And I love the focus that you're bringing to the product teams and helping give them real crisp direction. And we're seeing the results already.
I mean, the truth is that you can make things sometimes more complicated than they are. One great way to figure out what to do is just to ask people who use the product what it is they want and what they need. And if you stick really close to that energy in general as a company, you're in really good shape.
Well, we're going to get into some questions. We're doing questions live. You okay with doing some live?
Sure.
Okay.
It's too late for me to say no.
It's too late to say no. All right. So we're here. We got a bunch of questions coming in. So they're all coming into my laptop here. Some folks are bringing them over. So we're going to get to your questions as best we can. So let's get started. Enzi from Discussions, which is discussions.unity.com, asks, how would you invigorate our view in trusting Unity for upcoming years?
Yeah. Building trust in anything or in anyone it's always sort of the same process, right? All you can do is be as transparent as possible, communicate as clearly as you can, and let people know what you're going to do. And then you do those things. And then you go back and you communicate clearly again about what you're going to do, and you do them again. At some point, you earn that trust back, right? So I don't actually, my position would be not to ask people to trust, but just to try to judge on what we do and how we do it. And we're not going to be perfect, but I think, I hope, I believe that folks are already getting a sense that we're trying to do the right thing more often, and we just hope that people come along with us.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah, when it comes to trust, definitely is very much a case of, it's not what you say, it's what you do. And the more that you actually fulfill your promises, the more trust you gain. So yeah, Unity definitely lost a lot of trust with a lot of people due to the whole licensing fiasco. So yeah, now little by little, move by move, they're trying to gain it back. So yeah, I definitely see it as a hard road, especially for some people who feel like trust was completely broken. But yeah, I do think that is the path. So he's at least very much on the right path. Just do things correctly, one step at a time. And if you do 100 things correctly, then you gain a little bit of trust.
One of the key tenets that I've always looked at as community is do what you say what you do.
I mean, there's really not much more to it. And I know that we have this strange history where, that hasn't always been the case. Right. It's just not how we're going to do things.
All right, we're going to getting back to discussions. Marble from Discussions asks, what is Unity's pitch today to keep developers using their technology and not a competitor's? There's a lot of different engines out there.
There are, and we're super respectful the competitors we have, and we understand that people have choices. It's our belief that certainly over the last 20 years, we've proven ourselves to be the best engine for most use cases and most devices. And you get started for free. And we've built tools which are market leading, no matter what you want to do. You want to build high fidelity games for PC or console, like 30% of the top titles on Steam are made with Unity. 70% of the top mobile games in the world are made with Unity. We talked a little bit earlier about support we have, and we're adding in web GPU and XR and AR, where in AR, 7 of the 10 top games in AR this year were also made with Unity. There's a reason for that. And because the tool works. Yeah. And I guess I would just, I think as long as we're clear about that, and as long as we continue to connect and support the community, I hope that'll continue.
You said something really interesting.
Okay, so yeah, it's basically Unity supports a wide range of things. Whereas, for example, for Unreal, usually people say if you want to go for the top tier graphics, you go with Unreal, which I think still nowadays, if you want to go for the absolute top tier graphics, then Unreal is the thing. And Unreal still very much owns the AAA to AA market. Those definitely go towards Unreal. But so Unity is basically, the biggest benefit is just versatility, just how you can make, maybe not AAA games, but AA plus a little a of visual things. You can make those, you can make AA games, you can make small team games, you can make solo dev games, you can make mobile games, console games, PC games. So it's actually viable for quite a lot of different types of games. So the versatility, that probably is definitely one of the big benefits. It's top tier even valuable for solo devs. No. For solo devs, top tier graphics, no, I would say no. I mean, you can definitely buy some really awesome stuff from the asset store, but to go literally top tier, for that, definitely not doable for solo devs. At least I certainly would not recommend it. But beyond that, the engine is definitely very capable.
About the stability and so forth early on, but also today.
Unity support cross-platform. I think it's awesome. I mean, just yesterday on the live stream, we were talking about multiple platforms, and it's really awesome how in Unity you can make the game once, then you can publish it on Windows, Mac, Linux. You can make a build to make it work on the Steam Deck or on the ROG Ally, whatever it's called. You can make a build to make it work on a Switch, Xbox, PlayStation. And if you want, if you add some touch controls, you can even port it to mobile. All of that using 99% the exact same code base. I think that's a really great benefit. And as a developer, you should put your game in as many platforms as possible so that as many players as possible have access to your game. So that is definitely one of the big benefits. And I do think that is one of the big wins by Unity.
Today we released a video about the roadmap of 6.1, and so you should go check that out as well. And we'll put the link in the chat if you're looking for that. But that talks about a lot of where we're headed.
Yeah, I mean, this is the exciting thing about where we are in the games industry right now. There are so many fascinating, interesting things going on, and our roadmap going forward in 25 is going to be a lot about building AI into Unity and using sort of agentic tools to make Unity easier to use, to routinize, to be able to move faster through some like routinized functions and some of the pain points. And that's an amazing opportunity, because as a tool provider, like a proud tool provider, the one thing we can do for the industry, I think more than anything, the role that we should play is to try to make it easier and faster to build games. And if we can bring AI to bear on that problem and make it easier for our users to use, that leaves more time for innovation. It means game makers can make more new things, and that powers the industry forward. So, and we're very, very excited about the role that AI can play in that, not replacing the creator, but helping the creator create in the context of our platform.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting to see him specifically mention AI. Well, I mean, technically, I guess it makes sense for all tech CEOs are basically all in on AI, so I guess that makes sense. But I still have AI definitely has use case, definitely a tool, and it's definitely a tool that in the future might become super powerful. But so far, it's still very much just beginning early days. But at least I like what he says. It's not meant to replace people. It's meant to enhance you, to help you basically be quite a bit more efficient. Yeah. Use AI for in person. I mean, when I made Dinky Gardens, I used AI to help me come up with the name of the game. Like I asked it, give me like 20 words, single syllable or 2 syllables of some tiny cute creatures, and gave me a bunch of them, and I chose Dinky. Then I said, give me 20 words for something that relates to defense, something like that. Then it gave me Guardians. There you go, Dinky Guardians. So yeah, I've used AI mainly just for brainstorming, that kind of thing. I think for that it is definitely very useful. But yeah, for more practical use case, like what he said, he specifically mentioned agentic AI, like having AI agents inside the game doing things. For that, yeah, that is going to be. I'm curious to see what they make this year. Let's say that.
I mean, that's what we all want to see with AI is take the stuff I don't like to do and help me do it better or faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's Unity is, I think, by far the easiest game engine to use in the world, but that doesn't mean it's easy, right? There's a lot you need to learn. You need to be able to script, and you need to be able to understand how to use the shader tool and the things that there are complicated things in our tool. And you want to be in a position when they just kind of be yelling at what about at our platform and what you want, like give me this, give me that, and that will happen over a period of time. But bringing AI tools onto the platform is the start, and we're excited about it.
All right, going back to some questions from discussions. Stanstad from Discussions asks, now we've seen some threads around Unity. Now this is the business side of it, the long-term stability and profitability of this company.
Yeah.
So the question is, Stonestad from Discussions asks, as revenue declines, how can Unity sustain its feature delivery cadence to remain competitive?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, and for reasons I don't quite get about the company. And Unity is a really healthy, very profitable business, and especially our engine business is growing really solidly and has been growing really solidly. So this narrative that there are issues there, it's just not a real thing. Like, were there changes we need to make? Yeah. Like, do we need to make some choices that we could focus better? Absolutely. Are we working really hard to improve parts of the business? Yes. But Unity is in a great place.
All right, we're sitting here talking about.
Yeah, so that's great to know. I mean, that's one thing that when the whole thing was blowing up, people were concerned: is Unity gonna go bankrupt within the next 6 months or so? And thankfully, they do have quite a lot of cash in the bank. Last I looked, they had like $2 billion, I think, something like that. So yeah, they definitely have a nice amount. So I don't know if they're currently profitable right now, but they definitely do have enough money to last at least for like 10 years. So that's why, to those comments, usually my answer is, personally, I'm not technically worried about that, just because I do think they are more than solid enough, and the engine is actually good enough to the point where if the company for some reason went bankrupt, I'm pretty sure someone would buy the engine. So yeah, anybody who used the engine, I would guess you would still be able to use it. So yeah, in general, for those kinds of questions, I don't worry too much about it. But yeah, it's good to hear from him, even though obviously he's always going to be positive. But yeah, it's good to hear that things are solid and healthy.
Matt Bromberg, the CEO of Unity. If you're just joining the stream, thank you for joining us. We're live here in San Francisco at the Game Developers Conference, GDC. You've been to a ton of them. I've been to a ton of them. It's great to see old friends here. But we're taking your questions live in the chat, so feel free to drop them in the chat wherever you are on Twitch, YouTube, and they're coming into me here. So we've got a lot of questions about the anticipated updates to Unity 6. We talked about the roadmap earlier. You teased some Unity 6 updates. Can you share some more details about 6.2 and 6.3 coming up?
Yeah, I think, we talked a little about a couple minutes ago about AI and bringing AI to the platform. The other thing we're really working on are bringing partners, especially Gen AI partners, and doing bespoke integrations of some of the top partners so that developers can really integrate Gen AI tools into their workflows.
Okay.
It's really easy to go out using these big consumer tools and get a great image quickly.
Or sometimes not so great. You've seen the thing with the fingers.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But for professionals, for folks who are really building something, that's just not going to cut it, right? And ultimately, those assets, those 3D assets, need to be tied to workflows in order to be integrated into real projects. And we think we have a role to play around sort of choosing some of the best in breed folks, bringing them into our platform, and helping developers expand.
We got this great question.
So basically, instead of trying to build their own models, what he's saying is he's going to be working with other companies that already have models. Like just a while ago, they were mentioning on the roadmap, they were mentioning text to 3D. So technically that implies that they're working with companies to license their model, license some kind of text to 3D model, text to animation model. and basically integrating those into the engine as opposed to trying to do it all themselves from scratch. On one hand, that's good. That means they can focus on what they do. But on the other hand, I really liked how Unity had that thing about responsible AI owning their input, so there are no issues with copyright. Whereas if they are basically importing other models into Unity, I'm not sure if you can trust the source of the input data, something like that. So yeah, I'm definitely curious. Are they going to, when they do that integration, and they mention what kind of partner they use for that tool, will they mention what license, what data set was it trained on? Again, AI still has so many potential pitfalls. So yeah, until there are some answers, it's kind of hard to use the tool for a little bit more. So in 24 they made minus 600. Is that right? Is that after everything? That seems quite a lot. Huh. If they make their own, it will be a lot of money and time. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if they make their own, they own all the input data sets, and that was what they were doing. But apparently right now they are looking more into collaborating with 3D partners. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, 2 streams in one day. Very rare, very strange.
That came in from a couple folks, Fiangelo and Relax, it's Dax on YouTube. It says, is Unity doubling down on AI even with concerns about copyright and intellectual thefts? Will AI features be optional?
Yeah, of course, if you don't want to use the AI tools, absolutely, you don't need to. And the point I was just making about choosing particular partners, a big part of that is addressing the concern of that question.
Okay, good.
If you're building games and you expect them to be meaningful and to commercialize them, you need to know that you can use the assets that you're using. That's not true with every Gen AI partner you would choose.
Yep.
So the ones we're choosing, especially in the initial batch to integrate, there will be no concerns about that.
That's good to know.
Okay, that's good, because that was my question. So okay, that's still want to hear more details on that, but okay.
Now from Twitch, Juzek the Lost asks, this is a great question. What are some of the other industries Unity is perusing, and how does diversification of interest impact the game side? A lot of people don't know this, but Unity exists outside of games in a lot of different industries, right?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, outside of gaming, use of our tool is booming.
Yeah.
And I'd say that the interest primarily comes from automotive, where, for example, virtually all the major car manufacturers in the world are using Unity to design and develop the in-dash experiences.
Sure.
And if you think about it for a second, it kind of makes sense. You know, the little computer in your car is a lot like a phone or some other, and the strength of Unity has always been being able to deliver great interactive entertainment anywhere and to any device. Yeah. And so there's lots of amazing use cases. Just last week, I saw an announcement about the Mercedes talking about the new CLA has been designed, the in-dash experience with Unity. We announced a relationship with Toyota prior, so that's been really exciting. Retail has always been a big area of growth for us, creating virtual retail environments with AR and VR in particular, so you can touch and feel and sort of peruse items when you're not physically in a store. That's always been has been very popular. And then there's lots of manufacturing partnerships that, again, are using the core capabilities of Unity to be able to ingest 3D assets and manipulate them into interactive experiences. Our manufacturing partners are designing factories. They're putting AR experiences on phones to help repair machines on the factory floor. So it's a fascinating world, and it's something we're really focusing a lot on.
And I think that
is also another great benefit of Unity, is how it's useful for so much more than just games. That is one. I made a video quite a long time ago about how Unity for not game dev. Is that what I called it? Yeah, that was a fun video. Not game dev. Yeah, there you go. Unity for not game dev. So many use cases that you can use Unity for. And yeah, I mean, the fact that Unity can run on a mobile device means you can basically run C# code with some kind of visual. That is really all Unity is. C# plus visuals, potentially 3D, 2D visuals. So yeah, when you combine those two, you can do so many interesting things. So yeah, using it in car displays, that is a fascinating use case. Yeah, that's cool for in-world instructions and teaching. Yeah, there you go. I think AR for learning how to use machines. Yeah, that is one of the use cases that I do wonder how popular that is. At least from what I've seen, it seems very useful. So basically, you go to some kind of automotive factory where they're making cars. You just have some glasses, look at a machine, it automatically tells you the state of the machine, gives you a tutorial on what levers to pull to do some kind of thing. Yeah, that's an awesome use case, and that is something that Unity is definitely capable of doing.
Really what the industry, and when I say consumers, have come to expect as well. When you sit in a car now, you want to treat it like your PC, which has a nice graphical user interface, and it makes sense and it's understandable. And Unity powers a lot of, like you said, powers a lot of that.
You know, one of the interesting things about the games industry, for me, it's always been among the most fascinating. It's like we are very much as an industry at the cutting edge of so many big trends in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, if you think about NVIDIA, you know, started making game GPUs, right? So it's like if you can succeed in gaming, there are massive opportunities elsewhere because what we do is so difficult and requires so much expertise. It's like if you can make it in gaming, it generally does have some kind of an application outside.
And we've seen that time, and you and I in the industry for so long have seen that time and time again with interfaces, with 3D mapping, all sorts of things.
Right.
It's amazing. Like Hollywood adapts it, or automotive, and so because that's what consumers expect. All right, from YouTube,
virtual production, the whole thing. Although it seems like that one was really blowing up, like Unreal used for virtual production back during the days of the Mandalorian. And yeah, it seemed like it was everywhere, lots of hype, but then sort of vanished. I do wonder if that's still being used, just not really being talked about. I would assume so, because it sounds like really impressive technology. Or maybe it has a really high infrastructure cost, so that is why perhaps it was only used in like AAA movie budgets, like the Mandalorian. So yeah, I do wonder, but it did seem like very impressive technology. Hey everyone, how you going? Hey, pen spinning tutorial. I only know one trick now, so yeah, that would be tricky. I can see it used more in education than what it has been. Roy Chappelle Museum VR wasn't a bin. Oh, I have seen some museum VR applications / games, and they do seem very interesting. Yeah, in terms of education, I think those are great. Are the Assassin's Creed things, are they in VR? If not, they should be, because yeah, Assassin's Creed, at least in the last ones, they've had some kind of educational mode where you can learn all things about ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, and so on. I always found those modes to be very interesting. And yeah, I don't know if they have some kind of VR mode, but if not, they should, because yeah, those are really cool. That would be fun.
The Bull wants to know, with the maturity of things like WebGL and WebAssembly, do you think browser-based games will make a comeback? Does it offer something to games that PC and console don't? We're not talking about, I mean, remember the days of Flash.
Yeah.
That's gone.
No, listen, we're huge believers in web gaming. I think it's going to be massive. There's a lot of energy in the market, for sure. There's really kind of interesting portals like Crazy Games and Pokey and others where like I really think we're in this moment of transition in our industry where these kind of new / old distribution possibilities are really becoming real. You know, if you think about TikTok gaming or web gaming, instant gaming, things that are really going to come roaring back. I think we're going to see more and more formats of gaming, and of course, it's very much true with AR and VR, right? Those are, especially ARs, I think is really taking off.
Yeah.
And you're just going to see gaming in all those areas.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting to hear him say AR is taking off. That is interesting. I've not followed that industry too much, but from what I understand, it's very slow but steady growth. So like just a tiny bit, just like, I don't know, 5-10% per year. So nothing massive, but yeah, slowly growing. It's interesting to see him particularly mention AR. I guess maybe he's thinking perhaps about the future, which are like Meta and various other companies are working on more glasses like AR, which I guess as soon as that form factor is nice established, the tech works, at that point, then I guess AR software won't suddenly see a massive jump. So perhaps that's what he's envisioning. And yeah, being web games getting back, that would be awesome. Yeah, the Flash days, I really wish those would come back. I think that would be very valuable for the industry as a whole.
And it's interesting you say that because web gaming is something back in the day which like, oh, nobody wants to play a web game. But now between the browsers and the technology that Unity brings, some of them are 3D interactive experiences.
Well,
I gotta say on that comment, that was a bit strange to me. I mean, web games were obviously much more simple, But I don't know, maybe it's because I've always been more into indie games as opposed to like AAA experiences. So for me, I absolutely adored the Flash days. I remember playing dozens of different Flash games of all kinds of things. Sure, they were all 2D. They weren't like 3D and like games on like PlayStation, Xbox, and so on. But yeah, 2D Flash games were super awesome back then. But yeah, at the same time, it's really awesome how the tech has improved so much that yeah, nowadays you can have full-fledged 3D games, things that would be on a console 10 years ago. You can now play on a browser, don't have to install anything. So that tech is very amazing. Yeah, definitely want to see that continue going.
You're not giving up anything, to your point.
Yeah.
Like, I think what we provide as a platform is ability to kind of build once and then distribute that game everywhere in its native form with the, not a watered down version, right? To your point, these are full games, and you probably saw the announcement that that Google is now allowing Android to run natively on PCs. It's the same, it's an interesting idea. This idea that like, the same game on one platform is going to be available to you everywhere. It's something people have talked about for a long time. Right. I think it's really becoming.
But not just available everywhere, but also easily. In other words, next, install, come back in an hour.
Right.
It's like it's instant.
Right.
In most cases,
it's sort of what we've come to expect. It's what we demand as consumers. You don't have time to spend a lot of energy trying to get access to something. You want it when you want it. Yeah. And we're excited to be a part of it.
All right, we are sitting here with Matt Bromberg, CEO of Unity. We're live at GDC right now, taking your questions on YouTube and Twitch. All right, Matt, we're going to go in here. Kiss Graham off YouTube wants to know, why does Unity focus on services like ads and so on when most people just want a game engine? That's what he says. Why not focus more on your core thing, being a game engine?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. And I guess the first thing I'd say is not every user, not every customer is the same. So for developers who have an interest in building games that ultimately reach big audiences, it is important to those developers and to those users to be able to acquire new users.
Yeah.
And if they're building an experience which is going to include advertising as a part of the strategy around monetization, selling that advertising is important. So I fully accept that some folks have no interest in it. I respect that, but also I think it's important to point out that lots of folks who use Unity are really interested in those tools.
Yeah.
The second thing I'd say is that I just think the idea that it's a choice is not right. You can do a couple of different things, right? And we effectively really only do two things. It's not a million things, right? We build an engine. And we think that there is value to be provided for folks who are using our engine building games to have access to be able to acquire customers when and if they get to that phase of development. And I think those things really can work together if you do them properly.
Right.
So that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I would say this is very much the person making the question really underestimates the mobile industry. That's the thing. For me personally, I have no interest in ads. I don't want to make ad supported games. I want to make normal premium games. You pay once, you get the whole game. That's the thing that I want to build. But I do understand that Unity has a massive mobile size, and the mobile size is very much the mobile industry is very much based on ads. So I'm okay with basically mobile ads, mobile games, funding Unity development that then I can use to make the kind of games that I want to make. So I don't make games with ads. I make my own thing, but the entire engine, the entire company runs on the whole thing. So yeah, on that, and what he said, it's not like you have to replace one thing with the other one. So you can be investing in more mobile tools, more ad tools, web tools, whatever. And then you can also, those benefits also translate to making PC games, console games, and so on. So yeah, Unity, the ads market will continue living for a long time. That is, I'm pretty sure that is more than the majority of where Unity's revenue comes from. It's mainly from mobile, their ad business. As far as I know, that is the big slice of the pie. So yeah, I'm definitely okay with them continuing that pie, continue making money there, to then invest in the engine, to then make the engine better for people who want to make either mobile games, PC games, console games, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, definitely that question. Yeah, definitely the industry is very much, mobile is a massive, massive part. And yeah, ad games, personally, I do find them quite annoying, but I do know they are massive. So yeah.
kind of dovetails into the next question from Bigger Bino on YouTube. I see you. What's being done with all the things Unity has been acquiring but seemingly not using?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely de-emphasized some of the stuff. I mean, back to the original question.
Yeah.
We acquired over the years a lot of different tools, and some of them are great. They're actually all great tools, but they didn't all fit really neatly into our platform.
Right.
And to me, those things were much more distracting than, for example, the question about providing advertising related services. Like, those things were hard to figure out for the engine.
Right.
And so we have recently made some decisions internally and really decided to kind of focus on the core value proposition.
Mhm.
And that's why, as we were talking about at the beginning, this idea of like focusing on performance and stability and operating across every possible platform in a really high fidelity way, those are like the core things for us. And that's what we need to keep doing, right? We need to keep delivering improved tools. We need the tools to get better a little bit every day, a little better every day. And that's what we owe the customer. And that's what we're really focused on.
I'm keeping my.
Yeah, so this is definitely related to the what a digital kind of stuff, which, yeah, they're very impressive tools, but not really much to do with Unity. So, yeah, it's good that in the past year, in the past 9 months, they've definitely refocused. They sold that off and they refocused more on their things. And apparently on the last earnings report or something, or was that? Yeah, I think it was that, where they mentioned integrating more with Iron Source. So they've stopped trying to acquire random companies and they're just trying to integrate on things they already have. So yeah, one thing is always SpeedTree. That is one thing that they own. That is a massively powerful company, a massively powerful tool that is used pretty much all over the AAA industry, even on Unreal Engine games. A lot of those use SpeedTree, and Unity owns SpeedTree, but for some reason, SpeedTree isn't quite very well integrated with Unity. Like, there's like connections to it, but most Unity devs probably don't know that SpeedTree is somewhat related. I don't even know that it has some kind of free tier. It's not P-Tree, it's SpeedTree. SpeedTree. That's what they own, which basically helps you create all kinds of interesting 3D trees, leaves, something like that. It's a very powerful tool. It's used quite a lot. But yeah, I don't even think they have any kind of free tier. But yeah, so Unity owns this. So it would be nice to see that a bit more integrated in the engine. Yep, they do.
In the chat here, we got a lot coming in here. You guys have a chance to talk directly to the CEO of Unity here, like I am, and I'm just proxying your questions. And the next question comes from Twitch. Mutantfish asks, as CEO for Unity, what is the one thing that's not a standard tech company talking point that you really want to achieve for Unity in your time as its head?
Gosh, yeah, I probably don't know as much about standard tech company talking points as others, so I might be saying something by accident. For me, like the reason I go to work and the reason that our teams, come in is we want to do the right thing by the folks who use our engine, and we want to make it better. We're proud developers of something that we think is really important in the world, something that enables folks to make something great. And for me, that means a lot. Like I spent 20 years-ish making games. It's important to me that Unity thrives because the ecosystem works better when we're doing a better job.
Yep.
It means people can make better games on more platforms. It means they can find users for their games. These are all things that are really important to the ecosystem. And I don't know if it's a talking point or not, but all I can tell you is like that's what we're thinking about when we come to work. And again, we don't always do everything exactly right. Nobody does anywhere, but we think we're going to get better at it and be right more often.
I've got.
Yeah, that's a very standard answer, but yeah, great answer. And yeah, on SpeedTree, so yeah, it's not on the free tier. One of the things I like to point out every now and then, yeah, please keep pointing that out. It would be nice if that were to change, if there was some kind of free tier for SpeedTree, because it does seem like a very interesting tool. And yeah, a lot of people don't even know that technically they own it, so technically they would be able, I would assume, to make something like that. But yeah, main customers Hollywood. Yeah, interesting. Read an article saying 77% were satisfied with integrating AI. You're probably talking about the gaming report, which I actually made an entire video on that topic. So, yep, right there. So, yeah, go watch that video where I talk a little bit more about that. So, yeah.
Got a few questions in here about, you talked about being in the games industry for a while, but are you a gamer and what do you play?
Yeah, I love this personally. The opportunity to do it professionally has been just really an incredible privilege for me. I'm a big sports gamer, so I'm an obsessive FIFA player.
Okay.
I did used to work in Electronic Arts, but I'm a enormous FIFA and Madden player.
Okay.
I also am a big RPG player. Big Diablo guy. I used to work at BioWare, so I'm a lover of story-driven games.
Nothing better than those Mass Effects, right?
And and of course, a million mobile games.
Yeah.
But it's I love it. It's not like for me, I don't think about it as an industry or I just think about the stuff, the games, and I just, it's a really important part of my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, you've been involved with so many games over the years, and it's also been great to see how gaming has evolved.
Yeah.
We talked about WebGL and all the rest of the place. So it's great to be along on that ride. You're sitting at the helm right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's really interesting is the experiences I had making games, and it's as everybody on the stream knows, because they're doing it, it's just really hard.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing to do well, and it's always been really hard to make a great game. And so the opportunity to come to the other side and try to figure out, like, okay, how can we help make that easier?
Yep.
That part of it has just been really fun.
We talked about, you've been here about 9 months or so, but some of the questions from YouTube, Jason Prismatis and fried cheese macaroni ball. Okay.
Fried cheese macaroni.
Yeah, whatever that is.
It.
How would you describe
sounds delicious, actually.
It's lunchtime.
Yeah.
How would you describe the next 5 years for Unity, and what do you think Unity's biggest strength will be in 5 years when we look back?
Yeah, you know what? I think that Unity's biggest strength has always been its extensibility.
Right.
We're a platform and an assembly point where you can bring whatever the best tools, whatever the best assets, whatever you need to kind of make your vision come to life, you can build directly into Unity and take that tool set. That strength, I think, really favors us over the next 5 years, because the world is moving in the direction of being able to take the best possible tools, AI-driven, not AI-driven, and easily build them into your workflows, easily kind of put the strengths of each of those tools at your fingertips. And so what we're going to do over the next 5 years is do all the things that we're doing, take advantage of that platform, and help people come into what will be, I think, a really exciting next generation of how to build games.
I've seen.
Yeah, very interesting choice. Choosing extensibility for the next 5 years, which, yeah, again, I think it makes sense. So it speaks to the big value of Unity, which is how you can build once, run it everywhere, how you can use it for game dev, not game dev. So yeah, the fact that it's so usable in so many different scenarios, I do think that is one of the big benefits. And yeah, it's nice to see that he also sees that value. So for the next 5 years, yeah, probably be more useful, probably be even on more platforms, probably have many more use cases. So yeah, it's a very interesting pick for what is important for the next 5 years.
Some of the questions come in here as we look at the chat. We got a bunch more. We have about 15 to 20 more minutes. I know you've got a bunch of meetings here at GDC. So if you have some questions on Twitch or YouTube, drop them in for Matt Bromberg. Now's your chance to get in front of him. I'll take it and I'll put it right in front of him. Matt, it's, as we look back in the games industry, there's been so much evolution over the past few years. And as you look forward, we're looking at AI. We're getting ready for another AI question.
Yeah.
Prescol on YouTube asks, will Unity push into behavioral AI and develop behavioral AI tools? That could have massive effects on the immersion of games.
Yeah, it's really interesting. What we have worked really hard on a number of technologies that we think will help enhance emergent gameplay like that.
Right.
We have a tool and technology we call Centis, in which we're pushing inference out onto the device. I think on-device inference is going to be the way things go. Mm-hmm. It is going to enable the kinds of smart NPCs or emergent behavior that's going to be really exciting, which where you get this immediate impact on device. I believe that is going to be huge.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
So yeah, that was kind of an interesting answer, because I would guess the person asking was sort of softly referencing the fact that the behavior package, the behavior team was silently laid off on the past few months, and I believe right now there's no behavior AI tool. So yeah, it was interesting how he kind of flipped that into talking about Centis, which is indeed very interesting technology. It's one of those things that looks extremely impressive every time I see it, although I can't quite tell many actual practical use cases. But in terms of tech, seems very impressive. So yeah, Cent is really awesome. But yeah, interesting to see the shift in the answer, because yeah, Unity right now doesn't really have a behavior tool. The one that had, it went away. Yeah, team really went out. I mean, technically, I don't think you necessarily need behavioral AI tool. I think it's an awesome tool to have, but specifically linked to AI, I don't think that is necessarily too much of a benefit. But then again, I normally use very simple state machines for my AI tools, for my AI. But on the SSR, there are a bunch of behavioral tools that apparently are very well reviewed. So there are quite a lot of people that like those. So I do wonder if adding AI on top of that, is that an actual benefit? Yes or no? I'm not sure, because again, those tools on the SSR, I don't believe they have AI integrated on top of them. So again, that's one of those things where I don't know, is AI just a buzzword, or is it something that actually has potential benefit? I am not sure. Yeah. For driving with the behavioral, right? Yeah, behavior tree is definitely very, very powerful. So yeah, so this would be great for a game decision. Yeah, but how do you feed the input to the AI? It's always a bit strange. I mean, synthesis is all very abstract. Technically can be used for literally anything, which means it's tricky to find out the proper use case where it can be used. But yeah, definitely interesting to see. Start with behavior, but then talk about synthesis.
AI has a bunch of different facets. We talked early on about how Unity is using AI in the tool to help developers, but then it's also the in-game experience of having those AI that it's not just the when you have to follow. We've all done those different tasks where you have to follow the person who's slowing down, whatnot. But it makes it just so, to your point, so immersive, and we're at the point where the power is there. We just need to unlock it.
Yeah, it just hasn't happened yet. I think people can see the promise, but it will happen. I mean, the tools are moving so quickly. I'm really optimistic about it.
Speaking about tools, we got a question in the chat here, and there's been a few like this, so I'm just going to summarize. I'm not going to apply it to one person. Why should a developer choose Unity over something like Godot or Unreal?
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of the first question.
There's really no barrier to entry, particularly if you're starting out, right? It doesn't cost anything to pick up the tool. And by the way, I would encourage people to just compare tools.
Yeah.
Not every tool is right for everything, right? So the first thing people should just make up their own mind.
Yeah.
And the reason I feel confident about giving that advice is I think that for most games and most interactive applications, Unity is going to be the best tool. As I said, it's the most open tool. It's the most flexible tool. And it's a tool that we've just been working on for a really long time and making better and better. So I encourage people to check out all the options out there. And I think in the end, I hope and believe that will be the tool of choice.
And one of the reasons.
That's a nice answer. And that would be basically my own answer. So yeah, try out all kinds of engines. All engines are awesome. And it's good to, I mean, it's obvious, but it's good to see the CEO of Unity to basically be confident in their own product, to know that even if people try out the competitors, they won't find that one to be the best one, which, yeah, it's obvious for him to say that, but at the same time, it's nice because it displays some kind of confidence on the underlying product that they sell.
Reason you're here is community, and that's what's really incredible. If you look at this, like, so you download the tool, you're like, I want to make a game. I want to play around with it. Download the tool, like Matt said, it's free.
Yeah.
But then go to learn.unity.com and you have a whole tract of things you can learn from, whatever you want to do. And not only that, but then we've got discussions, communities where if you're having a problem or a question, there's a ton of people out there.
That's a great point. I mean, the thing about Unity is that it's not just the strength of the tool that has been built over the last 20 years, but to your point, it's a really welcoming, enormous community of developers who help solve one another's problems.
Yeah.
And So when you're choosing Unity, you're also choosing the community. And that's why we're just really grateful for the folks who are listening today in our broader community, because without the community, the tool, it's nothing. Like, you need both.
Yeah.
And the community of folks who know how to use Unity and connect to one another, it's just irreplaceable. I don't see it anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's another great benefit of Unity, which is very versatile. You can do anything, you can publish on anything. But yeah, the massive community behind it, that is something that, I mean, even when I was getting started, yeah, that was definitely the big thing. Even though back in 2013, back then there weren't there weren't Unity tutorials on YouTube, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that I remember searching, but yeah, I'm pretty sure even Brackeys wasn't active back then. So yeah, back then there weren't no YouTube tutorials, but still there were lots of questions on Stack Overflow, on the forums and so on. So yeah, I learned from that. And yeah, nowadays there are even more resources. So yeah, the fact that the Unity has a massive community that pretty much any question, any kind of game you want to make, if you go on Google, chances are you're going to find a Unity related question and answer. So yeah, the fact that that massive community exists, that is yet another plus for Unity. And that is one of the reasons why I'm happy to hear him value community, because yeah, that is one of the big assets. So it's nice to see that the CEO values one of the big things that they have.
I mean, if you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning working on that project as your side hustle, and you need a question answered, you're pretty much probably going to find it on our Discord or on our discussions. And there's going to be, because the games industry is great because it's not like if you're developing a game and I'm developing a game, I want to see you fail or you want to see me fail. We're in it together.
Yeah.
And I want to see you succeed because all boats rise, right? Yeah. And that's all right. Getting back to the questions on YouTube and chat, we've only got about 15 minutes here left. One of the questions coming in, it seems that Unity is focusing more on its ad business than ever. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, look, as I said before, finding audiences is an important part of building games. Again, not for everybody, but one of the things that we really feel is unique about Unity is that we're the only company in the world that can sort of help developers across the entire life cycle of development, from prototyping through being in production, operating live service, and then going out and trying to find new players. There's nobody else that can link all those things together. Mm-hmm. And we think if we do a really good job integrating those experiences, that we can create value for our users. Yeah. And we think there's a real opportunity to do it in a different and a better way that's focused on the quality of the experience, around safety and privacy. And so it's just something we believe in.
YouTube Zenimator, I'm trying to get through the questions as quickly as possible because I know there's a ton of them and we don't have.
I'll try to talk quickly.
No, you're doing great. Okay. Zenimator, really? Okay, I'll ask the question. Here it comes. Will the next version of Unity be able to change the game industry?
Yeah, I hope so. Listen, okay.
It's a very intense question.
This next few years is going to be incredibly exciting, right? Unity is being used in so many interesting ways, and the sort of the brilliance and innovation and genius of our community and our developer community is extraordinary. And yeah, of course I believe we're going to change the world. By the way, it's already happening. Like, if you think about, for example, the use of how Unity is being used to train large language models, we're already right in the center of the next generation of creation.
Unity is being used to train large language models? I wonder what that's referring to. He's talking about, like, videos? Like, because there have been some AIs that were trained on, like, video gameplay of, like, Doom and so on, then learns how to recreate Doom? Is that what he's talking about? Interesting. Okay. All right.
And it's going to be amazing.
I don't know about you, but I'm a little jealous of the people coming up in the industry right now, because when you and I started, you had to join a big company. There were custom bespoke tools. Yeah. You couldn't sit at home and download a free engine and start building something. There's so many opportunities now for you as a developer and a creator to really see your vision more so than ever before.
I do think that the next 5 or 10 years are going to be, I'm very excited about the future of our industry. And I do think a big part of it is that the more powerful the tools get, the more flexibility and freedom developers have.
Yeah.
Smaller teams, you move more quickly. It requires less investment. You can innovate more. You can make more. Like, those things are not just talking points. Like, that's how it actually works.
Yeah.
And some of the tools that are coming online, and with some of the capabilities that we're bringing to the engine, I do think it's a great time to be a developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things that sometimes it's easy to forget just how good the present is for game developers. I mean, just go back just 10 years ago. And yeah, back in 2015, yeah, for example, Unreal wasn't free, Godot didn't exist. So many tools were not free. Unity did not have like a dozen of their features that they have now. Like back when I made my first Steam game back in 2013, Unity did not even have a 2D mode. Back then, I made a 2D game, but the way that it's a 2D game, it's actually a quad with a camera pointing upwards. But yeah, the whole thing is in 3D because back then there were no 2D tools. So yeah, that is one amazing thing that is really easy to forget nowadays, which is just how awesome the tools are. Obviously, they're not perfect. Obviously, they have constant improvement. But yeah, it's easy to take for granted just how good things are nowadays and to forget to value because yeah, it really is. It has never been easy. I mean, just the other day I was reading about the stats about massive mega hits from last year, the Steam report, which yeah, basically talking about TCG Card Shop Simulator, one of the biggest hits of last year, and it was made by a solo dev. So yeah, that is something that literally could not have happened like 20 years ago. You could not have a solo dev make a game that sells $20 million. That is insane. But nowadays, thanks to all these awesome tools, nowadays that is possible. So yeah, that is awesome. Yeah. So if you're the kind of person who gets perhaps annoyed at the tools, I would say take some time to value just how awesome things are nowadays. They're not perfect, but yeah, compared to previously, yeah, things are really good already and continue improving. So yeah, that's something that I remind myself all the time. Tools are awesome nowadays. We're definitely living in the best time possible to make games. Yeah, so many free tools, so many awesome things. Attitude of gratitude, yeah. Post a link. I'm pretty sure YouTube does not allow it, so nope. But yeah.
It really is. Yeah, I got another question here from the stream. You made a public commitment to accelerating product innovation. Can you talk a little bit about that and give some specifics?
Yeah, I mean, just to be super straightforward about it, like we're going to do 3 significant updates to the engine this year.
Right.
Right. We've talked publicly about we announced 6.1. We're going to do 6.2 and 6.3 this year. I don't think there's been a year where we've done 3 big supported feature-laden releases, and each one of them is going to be really meaningful. And there's going to be important stuff in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so did he just softly announce that this year there's going to be 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3? Am I missing something, or did he just say that 3 release in 1 year? So. Okay, it sounds like that's what he said. So it sounds like this year we might get 6.1, which should be out next month, I think. Then afterwards, 6.2, maybe in the summer, and then maybe 6.3. Okay, if so, then yeah, that is definitely a very fast pace of innovation, publishing things. Okay, so I'm curious if he misspoke there. But okay, sounds great.
And that's all I mean when I say like we're going to ship faster, we're going to ship bigger, more impactful things. We're going to do it more often, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. We had a question in here. Was for you, but I'll answer it for you.
Okay.
YouTube Studio Vianchik wants to know: does Unity plan to support or run more events to bring the community together and showcase works such as hosted game dev? Yes. My team is doing this. Our team is doing this here at Unity all the time. So you should feel free to head over to discussions. We've got if you're in education, we have an amazing education team that works on that. Whatever you're doing, we're going to be doing game jams, and we're starting to do more back around the country and around the world. So stay tuned on that. So, all right.
Game jams around the world. That's fun. Nice. Yeah, get my toolkit today. Great asset. Get it before the 50% sale. Nice. Awesome. Thank you. I hope you find it very useful. I hope it helps you quite a lot. Thank you. Nice. Yeah. CICD, so as you release, take a number. Yeah, I do know that 6.2 alpha is out, and yeah, I guess as soon as they publish 6.1, they're maybe going to publish 6.3 alpha. But yeah, I would not expect it this year, but it sounds like it said this year. So okay, interesting.
All right, getting back to you, Max. I know we only have you for a few more minutes. Do you think the flood of video games compared to a couple of years ago is a problem?
Oh.
Well, I don't know if it's a problem. It's definitely a real thing, right? I mean, there are more games out there than ever before.
Yep.
Discoverability is a real challenge, right? It's really hard for folks to find new games. It's really hard to know what you want to play and what you're going to like. And that's just the reality of, of our industry. And I guess it is a problem in the sense that it makes it hard to find new stuff. And I think it makes it hard for new developers to break through. But I also believe that, generally speaking, like real innovation is rewarded in our world. And there's also an explosion of new distribution platforms and new places to connect with possible customers. Again, we've been talking a little bit about us making investments to try to help folks find new users. Like that part of the ecosystem is getting stronger too. And all these new platforms are a big part of that. Like some of the innovation that is going to take place, again, is not just around gameplay innovation, but it's going to be around business model innovation. It's going to be around distribution innovation and marketing innovation. Like we need all those things to come into play in order to kind of help combat just the explosion of noise and new stuff.
Well, it's not, and to be clear, it's not just in the games industry. There's Netflix with a zillion seasons and a new show for you to watch. So there's everything's competing for your entertainment mind.
It's the nature of the world,
Yeah.
It's again, especially as the tools become more accessible, you're just going to have more stuff. But I do believe in general that the good stuff will rise to the top.
Got a question here.
Yeah, there's definitely, that's one trend that I do not see stopping. More games, more developers coming out every year. So yeah, market saturation is an issue, and yeah, the only option is really to deal with it by being awesome, learning about marketing, because yeah, if you've got so many things, you have to be awesome, and you have to tell your players that you are awesome, that you are different from other things in order to, like I said, cream rise to the top, which yeah, in general, that is true. Once again, kind of like a really awesome time we live in, where if you go on the Steam's front page, if you don't even search for any games, chances are you're going to be shown like 20 games that are all really awesome. So yeah, Steam definitely has a lot of stuff, but definitely a lot of really awesome stuff, and that really awesome stuff does get to the top. So, but yeah, it is definitely a challenge. It is not a challenge that is going to be become easier in the future. Nope. So yeah, my advice is definitely make sure you learn about marketing, because nowadays you cannot make it without marketing. They're going to be competition is going to continue doing so. Yeah, you definitely have to make a marketable game. Yeah, making a marketable game counts for 90% marketing. So yeah, definitely pick a good game idea and definitely go watch Jonas's video on that topic. It's an excellent video. Yeah, so very tricky, but yeah, good news is you can do it, because again, tools are awesome.
From Terrell Turner on YouTube, thank you for tuning in and asking your question. Thank you for this Q&A, Matt. What does the future of Unity look like? You kind of talked a little bit about that, so let's do a little summary of it.
Yeah, listen, what we do is like we come to work every day and think about how can we put things in the tool that makes it easier for folks to create amazing games and interactive experiences. That's what we think of. I don't think that fundamental vision is going to change radically in the future. Mm-hmm. The tools will change. And the nature of gaming will evolve, but it's our goal to try to be at the center of the creation process, and to provide what folks need to makes them want to keep us at the center of that process. And I think that's a vision and a commitment that's not going to change.
Got another couple more questions.
Personally, I would have hoped to hear him say more specifics, more technical stuff, but yeah, sure, I guess talking about the engine will improve. But yeah, I'm really curious to hear what are his thoughts on things like dots. Does he see that as a core part of the Unity? Does he see core CLR as a core part of the future? Yeah, I definitely would like a more technical answer on that.
Before I let you go, developers depend on Unity and build whole businesses on the engine. Yeah. So obviously the stability of the company is very important. We're talking about financial stability. You mentioned company profitability earlier, but how are you thinking about ensuring the company's financial health in the long term?
Yeah, I mean as we talked about before, the company is really super solid. So I just again, I know there's this narrative about that. Folks don't need to worry about that, right? We're taking care of that. over time, when you're running a company, mostly for me, that's about making choices. I think sometimes in the past, it's like the thing about Unity that's so cool is that it sits at the intersection of all these really exciting big forces, online advertising and 3D and AI and game development and so much different stuff that like it can be hard to remain focused because it makes you want to chase and
Right.
lots of stuff. I think that when companies get into that kind of a mode, it creates risk for them because it's distracting and it causes you to make investment in lots of different things. And those are the kinds of things that get companies in trouble. When companies are great, they really understand and are connected to their community. They understand their role in the world, and they're laser focused on just doing a couple of things really well. Right. And so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to focus every day on making the tool better, in enhancing our ability to help developers find new players, and that's all we're going to do. And it's kind of my job to ensure that we don't get distracted and we just keep doing right by our community and our customers. And like if you stay close to that and you listen, you're generally in good shape.
It's kind of like you talked about playing RPGs. I play RPGs. I'm sure folks watching. You don't want to do the peanut butter approach. You don't want to have a little bit. Yeah, you want to go deep on a few.
I stay on the main quest. Right. That's what I do. I go from the front to the back. That's just how it goes for me. But
I'm the opposite. I do all the side quests before going back into the main quest. Like I've never actually finished the Skyrim main quest. I bought the game when it came out. I played it. I think I played for like 50 hours. And yet, I think I only defeated like the main dragon that is on the main quest, like the first one. But yeah, after that, I just got all over the place. I did some things for the Thieves Guild, for like the Warriors Guild, for like the Dark Brotherhood, stuff like that. So yeah, I got through all those side quests, and I never actually finished the main quest. So yeah, I guess I gotta get back to Skyrim to try to go through that because yeah. You can review him to ask your tech questions. Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, I'll have to try to see if I can come up with some questions. I mean, I have to say I've never done an interview, but that would be an interesting challenge.
Not everyone plays that way.
All right, Nettie Xenon asks, this is probably the last question because I know you got to go. We're almost running out of time. As Unity continues to evolve as a leading platform for real-time 3D development, how do you envision balancing the needs of indie developers and small studios with the demands of larger enterprise clients, especially when it comes to pricing, accessibility, and feature development?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna just try to continue doing the kinds of things we're doing, where we make the tool available for free or little cost to as many people as we can.
Yep.
And the sort of health of the ecosystem requires that big developers who have big businesses are going to pay a little bit more, and that's going to enable us to invest in the tool, and the tool is going to get better for everybody. And it's really important that we get more and more folks using Unity all the time. And so that's what we're going to continue to do. We want the tool to be accessible. We want folks to plug into the community and to us because it's incredibly important for the future.
All right, we are wrapping up here now. Before we go, do you have anything you want to say? I mean, you've been talking to them for 45 minutes,
yeah.
But do you have anything you want to say directly to the developers watching that are just starting out and building amazing things with Unity?
Listen, I want to thank people for using Unity and for making the community better and for investing their time and energy. It's meaningful to us. It's important to us, and I hope you keep doing it.
Matt, I'd love to have you on again, maybe in a few more months.
Anytime.
All right. Well, great to have everybody. First of all, thanks everybody for joining us today. It's been an amazing 45 minutes. I know, Matt, you need to get going. Want to thank you for everybody. Thank you for joining us on Discord, on Twitch, on YouTube, wherever you were watching this or perhaps replaying it now. Just a quick reminder, our GDC programming continues later today. We've got a show at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Eastern. It's Justin's going to host a live watch party for the IGF Awards. I'll be there. So maybe some of your favorite games like Dredge will win even more things. So Matt, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. So yeah, so that was an interesting, some interesting questions. I was perhaps slightly surprised by so much mention of AI. But then again, I guess it's not so surprising. I guess it makes sense in today's climate. A lot of mentions of AI, but yeah, very interesting to see him specifically mention it. But at least it's really good to see him continuing to talk about the importance of community. That's really great. And really great to see him continuing talking about the importance of the extensibility of the engine, just how you can make so many things with it, like talking about use cases in industry, automotive, and so on. So yeah, a lot of those things. No one like web games. Yeah, that was a bit of a strange comment. I think he was specifically mentioning about the visuals, because yeah, I guess if you're the kind of person who really only likes 3D games, then yeah, back then web games, I guess you wouldn't be a fan of them. Me personally, I'm a big fan of 2D, so I absolutely adored the Flash era. That was really awesome. So yeah, I definitely do hope that thing comes back, because yeah, look at this, so many awesome 2D, 3D games, VR games, all kinds of games. So yeah, web games are indeed hard to monetize. So yeah, that is always going to be a challenge in that platform. But at least, I mean, if we get to that point where the tough part is just monetization, then that means all the tech has been solved. So at that point, once we get to that point, that's going to be the next big challenge. But if we get there, that means the tech is all solved. So yeah, the tech is definitely one of the toughest things. So yeah, if they can solve the tech, and it seems like they're very well on the way to them. Like they've already shown on the roadmap, and a few times they've shown I don't remember the name, but some kind of game that is kind of like survival, some kind of thing that is fully in 3D, lots of visuals, lots of particle effects, lots of things. So it seems like the tech is very well on the way. So yeah, if the tech works and they figure out some way to basically handle discoverability, which they have Unity Struct or Unity Play. Yeah, there you go. That's what they're calling. Which technically they do already have some kind of portal. As far as I know, all of these are mostly web-based games. And yep, they are 2D, 3D, interesting games. So yeah, interesting to see him say that he sees a lot of potential in web, which again matches up with what was shown at the roadmap, where they did mention quite a lot of improvements coming towards the web. So yeah, very curious to see that. Imran says dots? Like this one? Does dots work on the web? Oh, okay, I'll have to research that, because I thought dots didn't quite work on the web. So okay, let's see. Well, hello to you. Yeah, thanks for being here. Nice. It is but limited. Okay, interesting. But yeah, over here seems, assuming this is gameplay from on the web, then yeah, very, very interesting. And yeah, you've got a 3D game. So yeah, quite a lot of browser games that Unity already has, and apparently they are going to be continuing to push towards it. So a new wave of Flash games, that would be awesome. I really hope that helps, because yeah, the web was really cool, and I do hope that something similar to Flash comes back in the future. I think that would be awesome for game devs just starting out, and for players to just play awesome games without having to install all sorts of things. So yeah, so I never did interviews, but you interviewed Chris, did crossovers. Oh, well, those were receiving the interview, and with Chris was more like talking about marketing. So yeah, not necessarily asking a specific question, but yeah, I guess I did do those. But yeah, interviewing a CEO, I would say that's a bit more of a tough challenge. And yeah, CTO, yeah, that would also be yeah, could be a fun idea. Because yeah, I was looking forward to hear his thoughts on, yeah, CourseLR, dots and so on. But yeah, I guess this was more of a general talking about the state of the engine, the state of the company, where is it going in the future. So yeah, I guess we will see. Yeah, Sandbox engine have that already. Can you? Oh, I've heard about the Sandbox. I don't even know how you spell that, but yeah, the Sandbox engine. Yeah, that one does seem quite impressive. Yeah. So yeah, interesting little QA talking about a bunch of things. Is this the? I think they did something like this previously, but no, they showed a game from Itch. Is there? All right, interesting. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. So I'm curious to see what Unity will push towards in the future. I mean, the roadmap was mostly about stability, performance, so nothing too flashy, but all very nice things. So yeah, it sounds like he's very much on the same page. Keep pushing towards that, with a bit of a focus on AI, which I'm still very curious to see. I mean, for me, AI is pretty much just a tool. It's a tool that can be very good or not good at all. So I'm curious to see that. He also mentioned how they were talking about partnering with other AI companies and specifically doing so in a way that is responsible in terms of input data sets, issues with copyright, and so on. So I'm very curious to see how exactly they are going to do that, because a lot of AI companies don't necessarily disclose what were their data sets. And for the most part, they don't disclose because, yeah, they know it came from a lot of places that might cause some legal issues. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to solve that minefield. But yeah, it seems they are going full towards that. So AI, web, performance, stability. All right, so interesting trends for this year and beyond. And the other thing that he mentioned, which sounded a bit strange, I don't know if he was meant to say that, saying about 3 versions of Unity coming out this year. So I don't know if he really meant to say that like this year, but yeah, who knows? I mean, apparently 6.1 is meant to come out like next month, sort of like that. So if that is the case, then I guess we will have 6.2 coming out somewhere in the summer, and then 6.3 perhaps towards the end, perhaps towards November. So yeah, that would be an interesting question. Yeah, AI copyright has not been tested, which means that it can go both ways. You can make a game with AI with the assumption that if it gets tested, it's going to be good. And then perhaps might be some kind of legal thing that says it's all messed up. So yeah, AI is still very much in legal gray area. So basically, if you're in charge of a game that is worth, I don't know, $200 million, are you really going to gamble on AI copyright not being a problem in the future? I don't think so. So I think that Unity really needs to basically keep doing the same thing they were doing previously. They mentioned how they were going towards responsible AI, owning the input data sets, and that way you have no issues with copyright. So I hope they continue with that same mindset so that people can use their AI tools without fear of somewhere in the future getting some kind of lawsuit and getting all messed up. So that would be tricky. Can you expect to see on the Pass the Game Challenge? I actually participated on the very first one. The very first one they did like 2 years ago. I did. And yeah, they have invited me since then. But yeah, I'm always way too busy. So yeah, don't really have enough time to work on a project, then make a video on that project, do all kinds of things. So yeah, they have invited me. They're always very nice. But yeah, don't really have enough time to do all those projects. It's always the issue. It's always got so many things that I want to do, but yeah, there's never enough time to do them all. Your next game you create. I mean, I've got the game that I announced, store.steampower.com, the game that I've announced like 2 years ago, that I am hoping that later on this year I will be able to get back to it. So yeah, I put release in 2025. It's looking more like potentially 2026, but yeah, I very much would like to get back to working on this game. It's still a very fun idea. I still really like it. I still very much want to do it. Basically, it has all of the concepts, all of the mechanics that I really like. Open world, survival, automation, crafting, strategy, building. I think that's a really nice mix of genres. And the idea of starting from a small world and then liberating the entire world, I think that's a really fun idea. So yeah, I very much want to get back to it. But at the same time, I do know this is a project that is, it's definitely not like a 2-month project, 3-month project. No, this is going to take quite a lot of time to do it properly, and I do want to make it properly. So yeah, not sure when, but definitely plan. So that on the wish list. Nice. Thank you. That is cool. Yeah. Just on the Game Dev show. Yeah. Did he come back to do that? I know he was away for quite a while. I don't know if he restarted the show yet, but yeah, that was a fun show. I really enjoyed watching that. Yeah. Be hybrid dots. Yeah, probably. I mean, I was for a lot of those automation things, I think they would do very well in terms of using dots. So yeah, that could be an interesting. Oh, they started back. Oh, interesting. So I guess I'll have to see that. All right. So yeah, it's already 8:20. So yeah, this is the first day ever that I've made 2 live streams in one day. So that's that's impressive. That's something I've never done before, and thankfully, my voice is actually not too bad. It's actually all right. I'm a bit tired, but my voice is fine, so yeah, that's good. Thanks, Phil. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. Just gonna rest for a little bit, then go to bed, and should be fun, yeah. Programming Patterns video. Oh, I think I saw the... I think I have that on my to-watch list. I'm pretty sure I have the tab open somewhere. But yeah, it's definitely still very much on my to-watch list. Is it this one? I think this is what you're mentioning. I haven't seen it yet, but just based on the titles, it all seems very interesting. So yeah, if any of you want to learn about design patterns, very, very important. So yeah, definitely go watch that. Yeah, it's definitely on my to watch list. Oh, you've got upcoming. You're still doing more. Nice. That is cool. Yeah, definitely got quite a lot of things. So that does sound very, very interesting. All right. So yeah, gonna rest a little bit, go to sleep, and then do something. All right. All right. So yeah, thank you all for joining me here. This was interesting. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this topic, the roadmap, and so on. That was definitely, it was interesting to do this. And yeah, if you're at GDC, then I hope you enjoy your GDC. I really wish there was a teleport invented so that I could be at GDC without having to go through a 12-hour flight or something like that. Yeah, would be nice if someone would invent teleporters. So if you have that skill, go ahead, please invent teleporters so then I can go to GDC without having to go on a massive flight and without having to spend thousands of dollars on on that flight and that stuff. All right. So yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, and I will see you all next time, whenever that is. All right. So yeah, thanks everyone. Bye-bye. See you next time. Bye-bye.